As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Sleeping with the Numbers podcast. Had another excellent week this past week 13, where we ended up profiting 10.33 total units. So that was a good one. And honestly, every time we've been picking the Steelers games here, obviously that's the team I know and love for the most part. It's hard sometimes to love this team, but I do love them. Um, Man, it's been easy to call them. You know, we called the Baltimore win. We called the Cleveland loss. Called the Cincinnati win. This week, we get Cleveland again, which we said was a loss last time, and that was correct. I feel a win here because at home, it's a whole different ball game for some reason. I'm not fully in on the home field advantage thing. That is a factor, but when we actually look to add it as a variable for the model, really didn't seem that impactful. You know, maybe back a while ago it was more of a actual advantage, but then you get things like Jerry Jones, blinding people with the sunlight at AT&T Stadium and calling that home field advantage, which is nonsense. That doesn't really seem to be the case most of the time, but some teams just cannot play at, I'm going to keep calling it Heinz Field. I know it's Acrisure Stadium or whatever it is now. Everyone still calls it Heinz Field, so that's what it is. Lamar can't play there, and the Cleveland Browns can't play there. The last win they got in Pittsburgh, I believe, was 2003, 2004 maybe, but it's been 20 years or over since the Browns last won in Pittsburgh. And I'm expecting pretty much the same this week. We know Jameis had a fun almost win last week. He throws those pick sixes like it's nothing. Steelers defense, we're going to be ready for that. And while I might be playing Jameis in some fantasy leagues, I do expect him to struggle as an actual NFL quarterback, even though in fantasy he can easily put up 30 points. Like, that is a real possibility. He might toss 3-4 touchdowns, but throw 4 or 5 interceptions. That's just what he does. That's what Jameis does, and that's what makes him so exciting to watch. But like I said, good week last week. Let's review the numbers for the year so far, where we're at for the season. We're starting to get some money line, some future bets rolling in here for win losses. Some teams here can't be a division winner, and we have some division winner bets. We have some conference winner bets. These are slowly starting to actually roll in now. And now we're also going to have some other bets here that will likely close in the next, maybe not so much this week, but the week after, where teams start locking in playoffs. The ones that have closed are currently down 5.4 units for future bets this season. So not super great. Buffalo, that was a wild bet we took. That's actually pretty crazy. I had Buffalo not making the playoffs and Buffalo under 9.5 wins. They've obviously turned that around. Cincinnati as an AFC North winner, that's not happening. Cincinnati over 10.5 wins, obviously not happening. Cleveland over 8.5 wins, not happening. Denver under 5.5. They turned it around. I'm upset. I do like Bo Nix. I hope he has a good career. He's been exciting to watch as well. Detroit over 9.5 was a win, so we got that one. Green Bay over 8.5, that's a win. Jacksonville under 8.5, that's a win. Miami cannot win the AFC East, so get that out of here. Minnesota over 5.5 wins. We won that a while ago. Jets as the AFC East winner, that was a loss, a big loss. However, we did hit on the Jets under 10.5 wins, which is a ridiculous line for them. Pittsburgh over 7.5 was a win. San Francisco, major disappointment here. Their line at the beginning of the season was 11.5 wins. Obviously, the Christian McCaffrey injury really screwed them, and now he's injured yet again. So that was an early loss as well. Washington under 6.5 wins. Big surprise there as well with Jaden Daniels, who is currently the front runner for Rookie of the Year, and we don't have a bet on him. So that's kind of sad. Other bets here that are looking pretty good. MVP, currently Josh Allen as the leader, and we did not have a bet on him. We had Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Stafford, Goff. So maybe Lamar, there's a few more games left. Maybe Lamar can get it done again. That would be really cool to see. Offensive Rookie of the Year, that's not going to happen. Like I said, it's likely going to be Jaden Daniels. Jared Verse is currently the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. We got that in at plus 900, so that's looking good. Offensive Player of the Year, we have Barkley at also plus 900. That's looking fantastic. Defensive Player of the Year, currently TJ Watt at plus 550. That feels great. He's also currently the favorite. And then Comeback Player of the Year was the other futures we have here. We bet on Kyler, Burrow, Cousins. Burrow is looking good for that one, and we locked that in at the beginning of the season at plus 300. So while we're down now for these future bets, there's still a lot remaining. Let's see if I can get a count here on how many we still have left open. Excel, do all that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 78. 78 open bets here still for future bets. So it's going to take a little bit for those to completely roll in. Obviously, we don't have a ton of time left in the season, even less in the fantasy football season. So it's coming to a close and it's going to be fun. Now, numbers. Moneyline bets, 51.7%. Win rate for a profit of 38.43 units. 60% hit on the spread. Pretty happy with that. It has gone down, but still pretty happy with it. 18.49 units of profit. Over under 58.716%. 21.44 units of profit. And like I said, future bets, not great at the moment, but a lot left to go there. 37.5% hit rate, down 5.4 units. So overall, our hit rate is 54.971% for a profit of 72.96 units, which would give you an overall return on investment of 13.62%. So again, this is a great year. This is better than last year. I really enjoy the adjustment we made this year for the more confident we are in a money line bet from the model, we increase the amount of units we are betting. So that's awesome there. Man versus machine here, we get myself versus the model. I'm at a 57.576% hit rate for a profit of 51.58 units, a 22.77% ROI. Model, profits, all we care about, win rate, whatever. But the win rate has gone up. We were sub 50% for the past few weeks, still profitable, but we were sub 50%. Last week definitely helped. We are now up at 51.389% for 21.38 units of profit and a ROI of 6.92%. So we keep it going. We keep it rolling here. We're going to be betting the whole season, the whole way up to the Super Bowl. Take a little break, and then we're back again betting on the draft. So let's get into it. Yesterday, we had a football game. Great football game. Exciting football game. Green Bay versus Detroit. Very important divisional matchup. I honestly thought it was going to be the under here. Detroit was favored by 3 points. They put up a total of 65 points between these two teams. Green Bay was really close there, and I was hoping that was going to be the win because the model did bet on Green Bay to win a 2.5 unit bet at plus 159. They did not get the dub, lost by a field goal right at the end of the game. So that was because Dan Campbell's an absolute maniac going for it on fourth down, which, when you're in that far into the opponent's zone, who cares? It's not like, even if they turn the ball over on downs, Green Bay had a long way to go. Yes, absolutely risky. You cannot discount that. It was 100% a risky move, but that's the kind of guy Dan Campbell is. And he's an all or nothing type dude, which makes for great football. But Detroit walks away with the win here, and that clinches their playoffs. So, bunch of teams on bye this week. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games to talk about with 8 teams on bye here. So let's start with a divisional matchup. Miami versus the Jets. Miami is 6-point home favorites, 44.5 point over under. Miami, they haven't felt great. I know they've been winning games, but maybe I'm just looking at it from the fantasy perspective where Tyreek's gotten touchdowns and that has saved his games, but it's Jonnu Smith and Achane. No one else on this team. Tua's looked good, but also all he's doing is really dumping it to real high percentage probability of catches to Achane and Jonnu. So, I mean, good for them. They're winning games. That's all that matters in the end for these teams. But to beat the Jets are kind of beating themselves. Their defense has completely given up since a while back. Aaron Rodgers' overconfidence is showing, and he's just also not performing as well as he should be. So, The model betting on this game does give an edge to the Jets at plus 225. This is a single unit bet. Now, remember, a single unit bet means that the model found an edge, but does not actually expect them to win the game. Let me get the actual numbers there for win percentage, and it will make a bit more sense. So the model gives Miami a 66.442% win probability and the Jets only a 33.558% win probability. However, at these odds, plus 225, there's still an edge found by the model, and we'll take that risk. It's a slight edge, 2.788% edge, but we do it. Myself, I don't like this game at all. I don't want to touch it. I don't like the spread. I don't like the over-under. Both of them feel super risky to me, so I will just be rolling with the model here, taking that money line bet and moving on. 6-6 Falcons take on the 10-2 Vikings. Vikings also 6-point favorites at home. The over-under set at 45.5 is very similar to the last game we just talked about, except it's not a divisional matchup. The Vikings, they have come back down to earth, but they have also won their last 5. They barely squeaked out that win against the Cardinals last week, where they only won by a single point, 23-22. Falcons, I don't know what's up with them. Kirk has just looked bad. Kyle Pitts is completely useless. Mooney hasn't done as much as he has in the past. Drake London is doing the best he can with how Kirk is playing. I don't really know how to evaluate these teams, and I think it's going to come down to defense. And the Minnesota Vikings have that better defense. Not by a ton, but they are absolute better defense than the Falcons at this current point in time. Again, this is another game I don't want any part of. Especially the spread. The over-under is a little more enticing. I lean the over 45.5. That seems like it could be a back and forth here, but I also just feel like the Falcons offense is just going to disappoint completely, and the Vikings defense is going to shut them down. Then they just give Aaron Jones the ball and they just run out that clock. So I do not really like either side or either type of bet on this game. So we go to the model, and the model found an edge for Minnesota, a 26.277% edge. However, the line is at, or the odds rather, are at minus 245, and we don't take anything less than minus 200 here. So, maybe if you're still in a survivor pool, take the Vikings here according to the model, which gives them a 97.291% win probability. I know I'm being boring this week so far with these bets. Just, I don't like any of these. And that, let's talk betting. Let's take a step back real quick. Betting is fun. If you're degenerate like me, betting is fun, gambling's fun. But you have to do it the right way. And the right way is to, in my mind, you only bet the things you know. Like, I've gone and bet basketball, and I don't know shit about basketball. I can't name probably more than 5 players, if that. But if I go and bet on basketball, I'm highly likely to lose because I don't know what the hell I'm talking. Football, I know. Hockey, I know. Esports, I kind of know. So I feel comfortable betting on that type of stuff. Other things, I don't. So I don't bet it. Just, unless I'm with some friends and we're at a casino, shit like that, sports book, and we're just there to have fun. Always expect, point 2, always expect to lose every bet you make. It is better for your mind if you expect that the money you are wagering is money spent to play a game. Think of it like Dave & Buster's. You're putting money onto your power card. That money's gone, but now you get to play the game. You get to win some tickets and maybe some prizes back, right? You're taking a gamble. Obviously, the monetary value is a little different when you compare to Dave & Buster's, but it's that same type of thing. So think of it as spending money to play a game, but sometimes you get that money back plus some if you do it right. So yeah, like I said, I'm being boring here, but I just do not feel comfortable with a lot of these bets. So a lot of the bets this week so far, for the ones we've talked about, are just the model's bets, which is part of the show. I bet everything the model tells me to because that's part of the fun. But as far as these spreads and over-unders, I'm just not liking them. They're just disgusting. And I think we're going to get another one of those here. The 4-8 Saints take on the 2-10 Giants. Saints are 5-point favorites. away in New York. The over-under set at a low 41, and that low 41 scares me. It seems like that should be an easy one. But looking at the last scores here for the Saints, 14, 35, that's awesome. 20, that's awesome. 10. So that is poo-poo for the Saints. 7, 17, 22, 18, 3. So going back to week 7, neither one of these teams are putting up the points. It sounds like the Giants are getting ready to play Drew Lock, which is an upgrade over Tommy DeVito, but it is still pretty damn bad. The Saints should easily win this game. And when I say easily, I don't mean that they're just going to completely blow the Giants out of the water. I think they're going to be safe and the game's going to be closer, but still lock down the Giants enough, lock down Drew Lock enough to just comfortably give the ball to Kamara 20 times, maybe get a few passes to Juwan Johnson. Taysom Hill is out for the season, maybe his career. It just doesn't feel right to take any of those sides here. So again, I do apologize. I'm being incredibly boring here, but I'm also betting the way I think everyone should bet. The model found an edge for the New Orleans Saints at minus 205, which again, that's less than minus 200. We're not taking that bet. If you want to, you can, but sticking to our strict set of rules that we set at the beginning of the season, we will keep following that. Now, if it does drop to minus 200 or greater, we'll get a bet in there. So I'll keep my eyes on the book going up until the game. But with favorites, as we know, the closer you get to the game, the shorter? I don't know the terminology there. They're going to get worse in terms of return on your money. The closer you get. That's how it usually works for favorites, and the underdogs get further away. So no bets here. Not by me, not by the model. Carolina, Philly. Carolina 3-9, Eagles 10-2. The Philadelphia Eagles are 13.5 point favorites at home, over under of just 46 points. Now, the Eagles might be able to put 46 on their own. And then the Panthers don't have to do much. However, according to Pro Football Focus, Carolina is currently ranked 24th in offense, and the Eagles defense is ranked first. I do not expect a lot out of the Panthers here in this game. That 13.5 point spread is wild. If anything, you're going to want to load up on your Eagles here for fantasy purposes. I remember hearing the line for Saquon, and let me make sure I get it correct. Saquon's line is 110.5 rush yards, which is absolutely absurd. So if you want to keep going for this record-breaking season for Saquon, I'm absolutely here for it. I love that dude. Name my dog after him. So this can be a Saquon game, and then they probably start sitting their starters. They're getting ready for the playoffs. They don't need to screw around here with the Panthers, as I don't think this game is very important. We confirm on this most important games. Eagle Panthers, this does not really affect their chances for playoffs. Doesn't even really affect their chances for winning the division, obviously, because outside the division, they do have some clinching options here. They got 2 cases here. Case number 1, Eagles win, Seahawks win, Vikings win. That clinches the Eagles a spot in the playoffs. Case 2, Eagles win, Seahawks win, Raiders win. So they have to win, the Seahawks have to win, and then either the Vikings or the Raiders have to win, and that will clinch playoffs for the Eagles. So obviously they're going to play hard, but I don't think they're going to have to play too hard against this shitty Panthers team. Model found an edge for the Eagles, but it's at minus 650. That's absurd. So no bets here. I don't want to keep being boring. Carolina, can you put up some points? I think I'll do it. I think I'll take that over 46. It's tough, but if I'm going to take a bet on the over-under, it's going to be the over on the 46. The Eagles, I think they can put up 35 on their 40. It should be a blowout. Steelers, Cleveland, Steelers 6.5 point favorites here at home. This is one I actually feel like they can win. Over under a 43.5. I kind of am interested in that over. That one I do like because of the way Jameis just rips the ball. Probably some defensive scoring in this game. We can see this go back and forth. Make Russ throw the ball. Make Jameis throw the ball. Both have solid wide receivers at the moment with Pickens and then Judy, who Judy's not the best receiver in the world, but when you're getting like 15 catches a game, you're going to do something with it. So I like the over 43.5. I'll obviously be taking my Steelers to win. If their line was not at minus 270 on the money line, 6.5, I don't like that. I don't. Divisional matchups in the AFC North are incredibly close. They're grunge matches. So I actually do like Cleveland plus 6.5, but I ain't betting it because I refuse to bet against my boys. Even the model here has a very small edge for the Steelers, 0.724, but at minus 270, it won't be taking a bet. This is such a boring episode, my friends. I do apologize. The model is taking bets, but with a smaller slate of games to choose from, it just really feels like I'm not betting anything. So taking the over, and I'll tell you to take, I'm not taking it. Cleveland plus 6.5. 6.5. Vegas, Tampa Bay. Vegas 2-10. Tampa 6-6. Mike Evans back. Aiden O'Connell there doing things. This is one spread I do like. I would take Tampa Bay minus 6.5. Their defense isn't the best. They don't need to be. The Raiders aren't the best at anything. They just have a very rough go. So I do like Tampa minus 6.5, and I do like the under of 46.5 because I think it's going to be all Tampa. I don't see the Raiders doing much scoring here. They're also incredibly beat up. Getting to the model. Well, there we go. I made bets on both. I'll take bets on both. There you go. We're getting back into it. The model will, gotta scroll. Tampa Bay. Model given Tampa Bay 95.693% win probability, an edge of 22.72% at minus 270. So again, it's less than minus 200. We're not taking that money line bet. However, for me, I'll take Tampa minus 6.5 and under 46.5 for the Jacksonville, Tennessee. Jags are 2-10. Titans are 3-9. Titans are only 3-point favorite at home. That is a little shocking. The Jaguars have looked bad. Yes, I know they kept it close with Houston. I put that blame more on Houston than I do on Jacksonville actually looking okay. Lawrence is out. We can likely just say for the season. He can technically come back, but he's out for the season. It's going to be Mac Jones versus Will Levis. So terrible quarterback play in this game. So close your eyes. But don't know what the hell the Jags are going to do. None of their players look good. So I'm almost extremely confident in the Titans minus 3 at home. Titans have a solid enough defense. Over under is only at 40 points. I can see the over. I don't, like I said, Titans defense is good enough, but they're not fantastic. So there can be some scoring here. I think the Jags are going to have to throw the ball to keep up with Tennessee scoring. It could just be a couple touchdowns to Ridley, and then it's a Tony Pollard game the rest of the way, and they just work the clock. That's very possible. But the over-under of 40 is low enough that I'm willing to take that over 40 and minus 3. So there we go. We're back on making bets. Finally, it just took half the show. The model, 30% edge, 30.134% at minus 170 on the Titans. So we're going all in on the Titans here, which doesn't sound like a great idea, but that's what we're doing. So model, taking the Titans to win at minus 170. I'm taking Titans minus 3, and we will take that over 40 points. Seattle, Arizona, it feels like they just played, but they did. There's 1 week between their matchups. They played Arizona, then they played the Jets, and now they're playing Arizona again. This time in Arizona, Seahawks 7-5, Cardinals at 6-6. I think both of these teams can both fill. Yeah, Seattle's currently winning their division. So this is a incredibly important game for the Seahawks and the Cardinals. This might be the most important game for the NFC. One win here and they are tied in record. One win for the Cardinals, I should say, and they're tied in record. So they're really playing for the division here. San Francisco just looks out. I don't think it's too early to count them out of the run. We'll see what happens. We've all been surprised by before, but Arizona, 2.5-point home favorites over under 44.5 points. I got too much love for Arizona. I do enjoy watching them play quite a bit. They're a fun team. I like Kyler, even though he can be frustrating himself. Marv is also frustrating, but this is a good matchup. I expect it to be a little bit of a grind fest, much like the Steelers and Cleveland game. The difference here is I think with the Steelers and Browns, they're just going to chuck the ball back and forth. I think it's a little of the opposite here. I think it's going to be the run game for both teams that kind of gets it going. Even though, and this is another reason why I'm kind of more on the under, Kenneth Walker is on the injury report. So we'll see what happens there with him. We've seen Charbonnet take over the load before, but Kenneth Walker is just simply a better player. So I like the under 44.5. As far as who wins, 2.5 is close enough that I would think I take the Cardinals here, but I haven't seen what the model picked yet. The model's on the Cardinals. I'll probably also take the spread. It is not. Okay, so no spread for me. The model has Seattle winning this game and also a 43.826% edge at plus 125. So we're taking Seattle to win this game. The under 44.5, no bet on Buffalo Bills and the Rams. Buffalo has already clinched the playoffs. Let me make sure I'm not speaking out of turn there, but I'm pretty sure they did. Pretty sure they clinched last week. They did, yes. Them and the Chiefs are the only two teams in the AFC to clinch. The Bills, 10-2, go to LA to play the 6-6 Rams. Absolute insanity that the line for the spread is only 3.5 points. I think the Bills blow the doors off the Rams here. So I'm taking the Bills spread quite easily. Unless the model screws me. It doesn't. Fantastic. Over under 49.5. Depends if the Rams show up to play. They're just always getting hurt. I'm staying away. I don't want any part of the over-under. Bills minus 3.5 is the easiest bet this week. The model also has the Bills. Their money line is only minus 170. Dude, it's the McVay effect. I've been fooled by it this year too. Buffalo Bills at minus 170. Model's giving them a 34.993% edge. We are going to bet on the Bills. And I haven't been reading the damn odds. That's my bad. That's on me. I'm sorry, the unit bet. Let's go back. Seattle, 2.5 unit bet. We had the Jets with a unit bet. Tennessee with 3 units. So max bet on Tennessee. We're also going to get a max bet on Buffalo, 3 unit bet at minus 170. And maybe it feels like maybe it's a trap. It very well may be. 94% of the money on the Bills, 93% of the bets are on the Bills. So that's pretty wild. This may very well be a trap, but I will gladly take a step into it. There's not a lot of times we can bet on the Bills on the money line, and even less times. That's not true. I said that backwards. There's not a lot of times we can take the Bills spread and feel good with it. It's never this small. And even less can we bet them on the money line because the odds are always not worth the risk. Chicago, San Francisco, 3.5 point favorites. And like I said, they've been beat up. McCaffrey's done. It's going to be Guadardo. Isaac Garendo, my bad, dude. So Isaac Garendo is going to get the start here because Jordan Mason is also being put on IR. San Francisco, 3.5 point home favorites, over under of 44 points. This does feel like a game that Caleb can get back here. They almost won last week. They probably should have won last week if their coaching and I don't even know what else wasn't so stupid. They got rid of the coach, obviously. So I do like the Bears in this matchup. I would take the Bears plus 3.5. The model is not also on the Bears. The model is on the Bears. Hooray. Okay, so model big bet on the Bears. Max bet. So 3 max bets in a row, 3 unit bet on the Bears. This is the biggest edge this week, 61.393% edge at plus 172 for the Bears. So we're in on the Bears this week. I am not the biggest Caleb guy. He's not impressing me. He's very well maybe a bust. But San Francisco has just looked horrid. And even though they may put up some points on the board, they can also easily screw themselves after 3 straight losses. Moving into Sunday Night Football. Los Angeles Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City already in the playoffs. The Chargers are playing for their playoff spots. Can they clinch? They cannot clinch this week. -4 for Kansas City. You don't get that a lot. Do not get that a lot. That might be worth taking. Over under 43. That may depend on if McConkey plays. If McConkey's in, I do like that over 43. If McConkey's out, that's a little more questionable because Quentin Johnson can't catch a damn football. And that's his entire job. So honestly, keep an eye on the injury reports here. If McConkey's in, see me take that over 43. McConkey's out, I'll take the under. The line might actually move if that happens. So we got to play that right. The model will be taking the Chargers. Damn it. Damn. I wanted to take Kansas City -4, but I'm not gonna hedge that. The model's taking the Chargers 5.589% edge at plus 180. They have the Chargers winning. Nope. Okay, so just a single unit bet here on the Chargers. They still have a 58.696% win probability for the Chiefs. I need to throw in a variable there for the Chiefs. It's just like, we'll just call it refs, because that's what they do. The refs help them win these damn games every single time. And that can very well happen again this week. Can they clinch the division? Let's see here. Think so. I think with a win here, they clinch the division. Does look that way. So Chiefs obviously have a lot to play for here. It gets them that much closer to getting a first round bye. So Chargers money line over 43, depending on McConkey's stat. Last game, no, just doesn't feel that exciting. I think it would have been better if they put Buffalo, LA for Monday night rather than Cincinnati, Dallas, but I don't make the schedule. Bengals 4-8 taking on the 5-7 Cowboys, 2 teams that just look horrid. Even though Burrow's looked good, they've been screwing themselves quite a lot lately. And Dallas, that's all they do. Bengals 5.5 point away favorites. Over under a 49.5 points. I'll take the under. I think the Bengals score a lot of points. I don't think the Cowboys score a lot of points. Defense is getting healthier for the Cowboys, but I don't very much care. It's just rough. All these injuries, and are the Cowboys even playing for anything at this point? What are the Cowboys' chance at playoffs? Cowboys, 5%. Cowboys have a 5% chance at making playoffs. So they need a lot to happen. Can they get completely eliminated this week? No, they cannot. So yeah, Cowboys don't got a lot to play for here other than to get rid of embarrassment. The Bengals are basically out. Less than 1% chance at playoffs. They need a lot to happen. They won't be completely eliminated this week, but they can only win. If they lose and the Chargers win, they can only get the final seed for the AFC playoff spots. So they're basically done. They're basically, like I said, less than 1% probability of them making. All right, going to the model. Model. Interesting. I don't like it. Model has a 90% win probability for Dallas, a 57.252% edge at plus 205. So I guess that means I'm not taking the Bengals -5.5. I do like that bet. So if you're also on that side, go for it. But because it's not worth hedging here, I guess I got to root for Dallas to win at plus 205. Yippee. That sucks. Whatever. At least I'm rooting against a division rival, but whatever. That'll do it for this week. Short week. Apologies for not that much betting this time around, but that's just sometimes how things fall. Next week, we have every single team back in. Buys are done until playoffs. So let's have another good week. Hope everyone, if you're not already in your fantasy football playoffs, hope you make it in. Very important week for fantasy. And we'll see you next time.